It's a nice day here in Brussels. I wanted to talk about why games are the future of science, humanity, and talent. I thought it would be a good point to start and maybe talk about the future first. What is the future that we are actually heading towards? We are moving to a stage what I call from... can I please have the slide on, please? Can I please have the slides? Okay, apparently the slides are coming up. Good. So the future that we are moving towards is what I call the future that is connected, right? I mean, if you look at the world today and the way we are sort of moving towards, by 2020, and these are even what I call conservative estimates, is that we are going to be more than 25 plus billion people connected, a billion apps connected, and 4 billion connected people around the planet. And as you can see, we're going to be trading a lot of data, we're going to be sharing a lot of data, and this has never happened in the history of the human race. Right. So this level of connection is something that is probably going to disrupt the world in more ways than we know it, and in more ways than we can imagine. So the main points of disruption that I wanted to mainly highlight here are talent, science, and humanity, which I think all three are going to be disrupted by this age of connection, or the era of connectivity, as I like to see it. Now, even crowdsourcing, or at least the way that we know it, is going to be disrupted. I know we all are here today to talk about and hear about different examples of crowdsourcing, but I can assure you that the crowdsourcing examples you'll see today are probably going to be very different from the ones you'll see tomorrow. So if you think about crowdsourcing, right now we sort of view it as a way to get the crowd to help us in small tasks. But tomorrow it could actually be what we call sort of harnessing what crowd intelligence is, and that's what I'm going to give you a peek of. So I would first like to start with saying that I'm going to view this disruption lens, or view disruption through the lens of what I call games and gamification, which I think is a very unique way to see, because this is also where we're heading towards, and the disruption that is also being provided by another sort of parallel development in the side of games and gamification. So I don't know how many of you noticed, but for the first time ever this year in Rio, the video games sort of were featured as a new e-games tournament, and it's expected in Japan in 2020 that it's actually going to be a sort of the video game competition is going to be a part of this. So you can see that the world is also starting to sort of accept this in a broad way. But let's look back a little bit at talent. I don't know how many of you know about NAC or have heard about NAC here, but if you think about what NAC really does, this is a new sort of app-based mobile game that basically tries to predict who you are based on how you play. So for example, this is a game called Vaid, and by playing this game, we can actually predict what types of skills you have. It's a short game, and there are 3 different types of games that they have. They're called Dash Dash, Bomba Blitz, Meta Maze. So a lot of short games, and a lot of these games can actually tell us who you are. And these are all mobile app games, right? Both available on Android and the Apple Store. And what you see is that hiring in the age of big data is actually already here. A lot of companies are actually starting to use this to screen applicants, because they can see that this is actually a much more reliable way to measure the applicants than before. So this is how talent is going to be disrupted. And now I've just given you an idea of games, but maybe I should also distinguish a little bit between the difference between games and gamification. So you have games where you have, which are just made for the purpose of entertainment, and the purpose of fun. For example, the Super Mario game, a very popular game. And then, of course, you also have gamification, where you try to add fun with purpose. And these can be implicit, or these can be explicit. And implicit can be something even as simple as attaching what I call the LinkedIn profile bar. Now, the LinkedIn profile profile bar, if some of you have noticed, I believe most of you here have LinkedIn profiles, just having a profile bar that shows you that now your profile is 80% completed, you are more tempted towards filling out the profile so that you have it 100% completed. Just having that visual out there on, as you can see, basically tells you, oh, I want to fill it. That's implicit gamification. Or you may have explicit gamification, which actually develops serious games that tries to help you and move you using fun, but also combining it with learning. And we're seeing a lot of educational tools, for example, also adopting this, but also in industry where this is now coming to become mainstream. So gamification is actually the process of adding games or game-like elements to something, and this could be a task, which is mainly, of course, to encourage participation. And this is at least what Wikipedia tells us. And you can see a lot of types of elements over here: badges, leaderboards, levels, points, rules, and narratives. A lot of these are elements that you can add. You don't have to add all of them. You can add a mix of them depending upon what you're building, depending upon the task, and also depending upon the why. So the why here is, again, very important. What do you want to do with games as a tool, right? So that these are a tool that you need to use, but it's more important to first address the why, as we also heard a bit earlier, why the why is so important. So if I now will show you a gamification example. This is, I think, the best way for me to describe gamification in form of a video instead of me even trying to tell you what it is. Can I please have the first video, please?
This is the hospital for sick children in Toronto. Within these walls every single year, thousands of children are battling cancer and are having to undergo terribly painful treatments. Children like Olivia, who 8 months ago was diagnosed with Ewing sarcoma. The hospital is continually trying to minimize this pain, but to do it, they must first understand it better, and most importantly, discover the medications that are working best. To do this, they need these young patients to record exactly how they're feeling in a pain journal. The challenge is that after multiple chemotherapy and radiation treatments, many kids are too tired or discouraged to even hold a pen, much less keep a detailed journal. And the sad reality is that if this data is not collected daily, it's useless. We needed to find a creative solution to collect data every single day, and with the Pain Squad mobile app, that's just what we did. To begin, our patients were enlisted as recruits in Pain Squad, a special police force dedicated to hunting down pain. We gave each recruit an Apple iPhone loaded with the Pain Squad mobile app. Then twice a day, an alert from headquarters told patients it was time to complete their pain reporting mission. Because the reports worked with iPhone's user-friendly touchscreen, kids could easily fill them out. With a simple flick of the finger, they could identify exactly where and how much it hurt, as well as which medications were working best. But making it easy was, well, the easy part. We knew to be truly successful, we needed to find a way to encourage our young target daily. So we called in some police reinforcements.
Hey, rookie. Welcome to Pain Squad. It's really great you're here. We need all the help we can get to help put pain in its place.
We brought together the casts of Canada's top police dramas, Flashpoint and Rookie Blue, and filmed a series of inspiring videos, then deployed them throughout the app. To encourage the kids to fill in their reports, we built in a graduation structure. When a recruit completed 3 reports in a row, they received a message from HQ informing them that they were moving up the ranks.
You are now officially a full-fledged detective in Pain Squad. Well done.
At this rate, you might even be the next chief.
They just don't make them like you anymore.
You truly are one of Pain Squad's best and brightest. Keep it up.
Back inside the precinct, recruits could check to see when to fill out their reports and how many badges they had earned. And once their last report was filed, they were sent one final message informing them that they were being retired from the field.
But this case isn't closed yet. Your squad is still fighting. We couldn't have done it without you. So way to go.
The Pain Squad app is now set to roll out into 4 other Canadian hospitals. And due to its success, it will soon be made available everywhere.
The app is an excellent tool. That's her control over the pain because she's able to document it herself, but she's using an app. She just glides right through it, and it makes her feel that she's a part of this. It's fantastic that you all were able to come up with this. It really helps.
Just got the word from Chief. Turns out you've been doing so great, he feels like you're ready to move up. You're well on your way to putting pain in its place. Don't stop now. You're almost there.
Congratulations. Cool. Sergeant.
Okay, so as you noticed here, I think I'm seeing this video for the 100th time, and even now it still gets me my goosebumps going, right? I mean, it's really something that something really touches you, but it also shows you the power of gamification in a very nice way. They didn't need to develop a complete game. They didn't need to make an explicit game. What they did was use game elements, but addressing the why very carefully. And the why here was to ensure compliance is better so that these children patients can be treated in a better way. And compliance, as the pharma industry also knows, is a very tough nut to crack. So that tells me also that gamification, therefore, is the use of game thinking and game mechanics in non-game contexts to engage users in solving problems, right? But these are not just problems that I think, because these are it can actually be viewed as a set of problems, right, that you want to solve. So games can be viewed with that lens as well, but these problems are not just simple problems. This is a screenshot from one of the most popular video games called World of Warcraft. In World of Warcraft, you have a lot of complex problem solving being done in the millisecond range, right? This is just one screenshot that a player has to react and understand. In this screen here, you can see that there are people trying to work together. On the left here, you can see that they are chatting with each other. On the top, there are 3 different health controls that they need to know what the status is. On the right is the map that tells them where they are. On the bottom, right on the bottom are the skills that they have learned, the skills that are active, the tools that they carry, the skills that they could learn, the skills of their teammates. All of that is being processed in millisecond timescales and then reacting on it, right? And this is where we can also see the power of collaboration, because they're working together here to beat this monster in the middle, right? So this is, again, complex problem solving at a frantic pace. And what this results in is this engaged and engrossed user. Right? So this is where you can see that your concentration is so strong that you basically are having very good engagement levels. And this is what you also want to try and get with gamification, and in this case also crowds. So what this is also resulting in is that you can see multiple uses and multiple cases of gamification being used. And these are, for example, a set of examples that you have seen. A lot of people have probably heard about Duolingo or Nike Plus or Foursquare. And again, the number of users applying either soft level or high level gamification into these is also ensuring that these million users that they have stay on the platform, right? So that's of course one of the uses is of course user retention. But it is also used for solving social challenges. And this is a set of examples that I like to show how gamification is being used to actually solve world problems. So for example, Free Rice, that is also supported by the United Nations, actually allows users to answer questions. Most of the time it's vocabulary questions, so it helps you to improve your English language. But in doing so, every time you spell a correct spelling in English, you actually donate a grain of rice to the World Food Programme. And in doing so, already, well, now 6,000 tons of rice have already been donated to date, right? So Free Rice is a very fun program, and I remember once when I showed it at an audience, I had a mother actually go on and start playing immediately, and she said she shared it with her child, and during the conference already, I think they had donated about 20 grains of rice or something like that. So this is again something that's very simple. You have Bayer, for example, that rewards children with diabetes for testing their blood sugar levels. You have Folded, that is basically one of the old first citizen science games that basically has also resulted in a major breakthrough in AIDS research, for example, by the crowd playing with this puzzle game and trying to figure out how proteins fold. Pain Squad, for example, I already covered. So this is a set of examples that basically tells us how games can be very powerful. So Folded, as I just told you, is one such game, and basically this is a game that is just about building puzzles, right? So you don't need to know anything about proteins. You do not need to know anything about how proteins fold, even though that's what scientists work with. But you just need to use your human intuition to figure out how puzzles work, right? And again, by doing this, you are able to solve problems in a very unique way. At our own university, we have recently launched a physics game, a quantum physics game called Quantum Moves. It was put on the App Store in April, and we have had about 150,000 downloads since. And what this does is that it helps us build a real quantum computer by you playing a quantum game. So what you need to do here is you need to move an atom, which is actually shown here on the right by a liquid water, and you need to move that to this target. But in doing so, you're helping us physicists in the background understand how to actually move atoms. And again, we're relying on the power of human intuition. And I think a better example is also one that I've seen from Cancer Research UK that really went on full on in here and developed a series of games that basically was to crowdsource sort of cancer research out to the crowd, right? And when they did that, they tried different mechanisms where in some you had to analyze real patient cancer data. In some other cases, you had to just play a game, but some of the currency that you got in the game could only be earned by you solving some scientific tasks. So there were multiple models that they played with, and I think this is, again, best visualized by this video. Can you please play the second video?
We are pioneers.
As technology progresses,
we embrace it.
While others play it safe,
We play to cure.
We made it possible.
for everyone.
For everyone.
For everyone.
To join the fight against cancer.
UK. And a more recent game is Heroquest. This was just covered by the BBC just on the 17th of November, where they have actually analyzed a lot of data. And already, this is a game for helping in fight against dementia. But it is also the world's largest dementia research experiment. And already in doing so, by taking the form of a video game and having 14 million players sort of play this, they were able to actually calculate and show what the aspects of decline of dementia are. And in doing so, what the researchers said that if you play 6 minutes of this game, it translates to 16 hours of research time that is saved in the lab, right? So 6 minutes of play saves you 16 hours of research in the lab. So this is again showing you the power of what, for example, crowdsourcing and games can actually do. So here you can see that we have 2.4 million people that have downloaded the game, and we would have taken about 9,400 years in the lab, right? So this is really very powerful, right? So, and as I just said, it's 6 minutes and it's 16 hours of dementia research which you're saving upon. So again, I would like to conclude here by saying that by harnessing the power of the crowd to solve complex scientific and humanitarian problems at scales and rates that no one individual can, games will be the future of both talent, science, and humanity. And with that, I would like to thank you for your time.
Great. Thank you, Rajiv.
Rajiv?
We'll have probably we'll take one question, perhaps. Anyone has a question for Rajiv? Anyone? No?
Oh.
Yeah, gentleman right there. Can you just get a microphone?
Thanks. Hi. I've just caught the last minute of your talk, so I didn't get to see much. But I get the idea of gaming and use as tech. My only question is in this sort of world of too much tech and too much email and too much everything else, is this game sort of the technology there to encourage innovation online, but also detox from the tech as well, and actually do this sort of stuff online, offline as well? Mm-hmm. So there's a collaboration between the two, not just one.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Well, I think it's a very relevant question. Well, one thing I think which you also might have seen in the quotes in some of the cancer research videos was where the player said that it's great to be playing this game and also good use of my time. So the question is, you could be playing Candy Crush, or you could be playing the puzzles on cancer research. Where would you rather spend your time? That's one pile. But the other is also that I don't think that you only have to be able to do this with digital games and physical interaction, and you don't have to have high tech sometimes, even low tech, but the idea of gameplay itself is very powerful that can bring you a lot of results and take you forward then even more than you can imagine.
Good. Great. You're going to be on a panel also later on, so we've got more questions to you. Thank you, Rajiv. Thanks for coming. Thank you.
Rajiv, this is a little something from you, Belgium chocolate.